L'abbiamo incontrata a Parigi, era più simpatica del solito, forse perché ha realizzato un disco nuovo, più bello del solito, che è uscito proprio in questo periodo in tutto il mondo. Prima domanda, qual è la regola che ispira la sua arte?
La mia risposta a tutti quelli che si chiedono il perché di quello che faccio è: senza rischio non c'è gloria.
Nel suo nuovo disco parla della sua spiritualità, ma qual è la sua religione, il suo Dio?
Non è nessuna religione organizzata. Se ne avessi una la descriverei piuttosto come spiritualità e non come religione. Posso dire di credere in Dio e che Dio è in ognuno di noi, ma non posso dire di essere cattolica o buddista. Posso dire che le mie convinzioni derivano da tutte le religioni, cioè del buono in ogni religione.
Cosa risponde a tutti quelli che la criticano?
Credo che la maggior parte dei critici e degli scrittori dovrebbero scrivere su di loro e non su di me.
Il suo disco contiene storie della buonanotte. Quando andava a dormire da bambina, qual era la favola che preferiva?
Mio padre mi raccontava ogni sera la storia di un orto. È piuttosto banale. Di solito la storia riguardava un coniglio che voleva entrare furtivamente nell'orto per mangiare gli ortaggi. Era soprattutto una storia sul bene e sul male. A volte vinceva il coniglio, altre gli ortaggi. Ricordo che il coniglio era un coniglio cattivo e tutto si svolgeva in un posto proibito.
Che effetto le fanno tutte le domande che le fanno sul sesso?
Le domande sul sesso mi annoiano. Non ho detto alla gente di essere ossessionata dal sesso. Volevo dire alla gente di non vergognarsi della propria sessualità. Ma hanno frainteso il mio messaggio. Perciò ogni volta che vengo intervistata parlo di sesso. Ed è molto noioso parlare sempre di sesso. Ci sono altre cose nella vita.
Qual è il suo sogno oggi?
Il mio sogno oggi è di fare una bella dormita.
Things haven't been the same since you came.
We made interviews with all her crew and now we finally got her. Madonna, nice meeting you and nice talking to you. And congratulations for your new album, Bedtime Stories.
Thank you.
I honestly love it. And why did you change the sex part to the romantic part of this album?
Well,
You don't know.
I think that I was exploring eroticism and now I'm exploring romance, which isn't to say that there weren't romantic songs on my last album. It's just that it was more concentrated on eroticism.
And are you a romantic woman?
Am I a romantic woman? I think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Spokesmen for rock singer Madonna say Metro Police and the Crown Attorney's Office threatened to arrest the star last night for lewd and obscene behavior. However, the police department tonight has a different story. Headquarters says officers checked out the show on complaints from the public, found nothing wrong and left without incident.
Why do you think the press here in the United States was so bad with you? Because you talked about sex. Do you think that they don't accept sex here, or where is it?
I think sex is still a very taboo subject, and the only people that Americans feel comfortable with speaking out loud about it is men. I mean, women aren't traditionally very vocal about sexual politics, sexuality, eroticism, whatever.
And why did you talk about it? Knowing that here in the United States they wouldn't like it.
Why? Because I think it should change. I think it should be as commonplace for a woman to talk about sex and be free about expressing her sexual fantasies or her sexuality as men are.
Which is the hardest part of being Madonna? So huge, so famous.
The hardest part?
Yeah.
I guess being so completely misinterpreted on a regular basis.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Which are the biggest?
Misquoted, misinterpreted, I don't know, I guess misunderstood. What?
Which is the biggest misunderstanding?
That I'm sad and lonely and I'm all by myself and I sit at home every night and crying in my room and I don't have any fun. Okay, stuff like that.
Okay. afraid of aging and of death?
She asked me that question.
Okay, well, it's incredible.
Just like everybody else, yeah. Sure.
Which is the thing you want to do the most in your career? I mean, movies, singing, touring, writing, songs.
Being happy.
Not working.
No, work is part of my life. I mean, I love what I do, so I wouldn't. It's not a burden for me.
And how do you see yourself in about 20 years, for example? Working so hard, or
I have no idea. I'm living in the present.
wouldn't like to have some vacation?
I take vacations all the time. That's another misconception, that I never
Everybody
take
thinks
vacations.
that you work all the time. You don't work.
I work a lot, but I take a lot of vacations, too. Little ones, here and there. You know.
How do you make to take a vacation? For example, you're known here, you're known in Japan, you're known everywhere. How do you go to a place where...
I go to Alaska. No, I mostly when I'm not working, I go to Miami. I have a house in Miami on the water, on the bay. It's really peaceful and quiet. And nobody bothers me there.
Is it true that you want to be a mother now?
She has met.
Oh.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's true.
And you have to...
I'm not putting ads in the newspaper, okay?
No? Oh, okay. This is one of the misunderstandings.
Yes.
And you have the father selected, yeah?
Yeah, I selected him. I went out on the street. I made a list. I interviewed people.
What would you teach to your son or your daughter?
What would I teach?
Yeah, what's the...
To never believe what they read in newspapers.
Because they can read something from their mother that is not true.
About anybody, not just me. No, seriously, I would teach them to... I would teach them to believe in themselves and to have self-respect. And I think the most important thing is to help them feel comfortable with who they are and to make them feel loved and feel that they are lovable. Yeah.
Which was the most painful moment in your life?
Most painful? Probably my mother's death.
Little girl, don't you forget her face, laughing away your tears.
You talked about it in Inside of Me now, one of your songs. And It's hard to talk about her. And
It's getting easier. I think it took me. I think that song Inside of Me was a song that took me many years to be able to write.
And did she tell you bedtime stories when you were a child?
My father told the stories, not my mother. I don't remember my mother telling me the stories.
There you seem to be very concerned about your father's opinion about your career.
My father's approval.
Yeah?
Yes, well.
Does he approve?
Isn't everyone?
Yeah, that's true, but does he approve? Do you know his opinion?
So? My father disowned me? No. No? You look so happy. Really? Oh, God, I was so afraid to be like a virgin.
I think that he's accepts it more. I think he's come to a better understanding of what I want to do. I think he will never truly and completely understand what I do, but I don't think he's judgmental. I don't think that if he sees something that I do and he doesn't like it, he doesn't love me any less, or he doesn't call me up and say, no, I don't like that. I mean, he leaves me alone and lets me do what I want to do.
Which is the best memory you have of your childhood?
Best memory? That's a tough question. They both involve sleeping. One of them is sleeping with my mother, in between my mother and my father one night, and after my mother had been in the hospital for a really long time, and she came home, and then And then my favorite thing to do always was to fall asleep on my father's lap at night, and then he would carry me to bed. And I would be awake, but I would pretend that I was sleeping. So he would carry me. So that's a good memory.
You never wanted to live that way. You never wanted to hurt me. Why am I running away?
And how's it when you go to meet your family when you're with your brothers and sisters, and is it kind of the star is here and...
No.
No? How do you manage to be equal to your brothers and sisters?
In fact, they kind of ignore me.
Oh, yeah?
I just sort of pretend that none of that exists, except, of course, when they, when an engine blows up in their car and they need someone to buy them a new motor. But other than that, I don't get treated special when I'm home.
Would you ever get married again?
Maybe.
Yeah?
Uh-huh.
Do you have good memories of your last marriage?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, strange as it may seem.
Rock.
Madonna ventured into cyberspace this week, previewing her new single, a song called Secret, for subscribers to the CompuServe and America Online computer services. The single will officially be released this coming week, with the album from which it's taken, Bedtime Stories, due out next month. And last Friday, Madonna shot a video for the single in New York with director Melody McDaniel, best known for her previous work with such acts as Tori Amos and Porno for Pyros. Madonna was at last week's MTV Video Music Awards with McDaniel and an art director called Fatima, and she talked to Juliet Honan about her director and her tour plans.
I think only a woman could understand this song, if you want to know the truth. And she's also absolutely the best female video director in this country right now.
This is a, a slower record. Could you imagine going out on tour with it?
It's not a slower record.
Well, it's, it's kind of soft.
I think actually, yeah, it'll help me. Usually all my stuff is so up-tempo that I can't sing and dance at the same time. I think actually I'll be able to get a, I'll be able to sit down a couple times, breathe. It'll be all right.
Sempre insinuante, Madonna diz que pesado comediante brasileiro tem chances de ir pra cama com ela. Eu tenho muitas lembranças do Brasil.
First of all, I love Rio de Janeiro.
Uma cidade linda, majestosa, de tirar o fôlego. Gostaria de voltar e andar por Ipanema. São Paulo é diferente. Muita loucura, fãs gritando no meio da rua 24 horas por dia.
Madonna, eu já te vi algumas vezes nas quadras de basquete e gostaria de saber se você tem o mesmo gosto pelo futebol.
Ele me viu jogando basquete? Eu só comecei a me interessar por futebol quando vi as finais da Copa dos Estados Unidos. É incrível.
Tá sempre surpreendendo, escandalizando, seja pelo seu talento, seja pela sua ousadia. Você sabe onde é que você quer chegar?
Eu sei onde eu quero ir, mas não fico planejando por meses e meses. Quando estou preparando um disco novo, eu faço muita pesquisa, muito trabalho em casa. Acho que é importante se preparar.
Você tem medo de envelhecer?
Não tenho medo de ficar velha. Eu tenho medo da ideia de morrer. Envelhecer é um mistério e ficar velho pode significar a aproximação da morte.
Eu não sei se você é o símbolo da mulher liberada dos anos 80 ou o protótipo da mulher do ano 2000. Quem é você?
Quando eu estou no palco, eu faço coisas diferentes, como gestos e interpretações sexuais. Coisas que só os homens fazem. Faço isso porque eu quero mostrar que as mulheres também podem ter uma atitude sexual forte.
Você acha que os homens têm medo de você?
Acho, mas as mulheres também têm medo de mim, porque elas se acostumaram com a ideia de que os homens é que devem se encarregar de tudo. Então me olham como alguém que vai contra a maré. E vou mesmo, eu mudo a maneira das pessoas pensarem. Na verdade, a maioria das mulheres gostaria que eu calasse minha boca e desaparecesse.
Minha querida Madonna, vejo sempre você bem acompanhada com esses rapazes, bailarinos, fortes, musculosos. A minha pergunta é a seguinte, queria saber se um humorista de 120 quilos, bem sucedido, mas que gosta da coisa, um cara simpático assim, tinha alguma chance com você?
Eu já fui pra cama com homens gordos. O importante é que o cara seja bonito por dentro. E um bom senso de humor sempre ajuda. Se você é comediante, tem pelo menos uma dessas qualidades. Então você tem chance.
A new album, Bedtime Stories. Can you tell me the concept behind the album, the thinking behind this album?
Well, I think most of the songs are about a kind of a spiritual struggle, or coming to terms with a spiritual struggle, or coming to realizations about, well, life, really. I know it sounds kind of general, but that's really what it is.
And there's a romantic theme within the album, of course.
Yeah.
There is a move from sex to romanticism.
Well, let's say eroticism and romanticism.
Does this mean that this is a new Madonna, a softer Madonna, or have you explored the concept of sex enough?
No, it's not that I've explored it enough, it's just that it's such a taboo subject that I think it distracted people too much from my music and what I was trying to say. So I am sort of exploring other things that are important to me. It's not that eroticism and sex isn't important to me, but romance is too, and I'm exploring that. And it's just another part of me.
In what way do you think it distracted people, though, just in terms of the press?
Because sex is a taboo subject, period. You're just not supposed to talk about it. So.
Okay, the first song's called Survival, but are you a natural-born survivor? Is it something that you've actually had to learn?
I think that you learn to survive. I think life teaches you how to survive. I don't think anyone's born a survivor, but you know, it's like if you throw a child into a swimming pool, they sink or swim. You know, you teach yourself based on the circumstances that are thrown in your way, or you don't, one or the other.
But do you think that because you had a long period where you were not in the public eye, you know, when you were younger?
When was that? Oh.
Can you remember that far back? But actually those experiences at that time.
I think that gave me a good, strong base to stand on. But I think more importantly, since I was very young, I've had situations thrown in my face where I had to survive, and I had to teach myself to survive and find resources to be strong. I think that's the real reason that I've been learning how to be a survivor since I was very young.
There's a stereotypical vision of icons as being victims of their own success. Have you ever felt that you've been a victim of success?
I think that everyone who's famous is a victim of the media's portrayal of them, because the media's portrayal can never give you the whole picture of a person, and everything you say is taken out of context, or as everything you do is an isolated incident. If people could follow you around all day and understand that you're a whole human being with a full life, they would get the whole picture, but they end up getting isolated incidents, and things you do get reinterpreted by people who either like or dislike you, and depending on how they feel about you, that's how they reinterpret what you've done, and then that's what the rest, that's what society or the public or whatever, that's what they digest. So you end up getting a very convoluted picture of what a person is. So you end up becoming a prisoner of that, and that is the downside of being famous.
Are you being punished then? You know, I mean, that is...
Well, that's part of it. I mean, it is, I do feel, I don't think success is punishing me, but I think that the media just started to sort of jump on this bandwagon of beating up on me because there were so many people that were upset with what I was doing a couple of years ago, and that just was kind of the very unoriginal direction everyone went in, and said, okay, let's just, you know, that's just everything that she does, let's beat her up. I mean, that's what it felt like, you know. And I found that I was being, that no matter what I did after I published my book, that everything was a response to my book, not what I was doing. So it did feel kind of like a punishment, but I do hate using that word because everyone at this point has said it to me a million times, and I'm not sitting in my room going, I'm being punished, it's not fair, you know.
But has there ever been a time where you have been tempted or have manipulated the press yourself?
Or I have been tempted?
Okay, well, you have manipulated.
Well, I suppose I have known that certain things that I would do would provoke a certain reaction. I have known that, so I suppose that is a purposeful manipulation to a certain extent. But on the other hand, it always, I never compromised what I was trying to say artistically, so.
Is real success about taking risks and the route to happiness or
Absolutely,
fulfillment?
in every way.
In every area of your life? In
every way, yeah. Yeah.
There aren't many people in this world that take risks, though, really.
'Tis a pity.
Do you think if you'd been a man, you would have had an easier ride?
Actually, there are people that take risks, but they're not famous. You see, most people that are famous want to, and are popular, quote unquote, want to maintain their popularity. So in order to maintain your popularity, you can't take risks, because if you take risks, you might offend people. If you offend people, you can't maintain your popularity. So I know lots of people that take risks. They just don't happen to be in the public eye or in the limelight or whatever you want to call it.
Do you think it would have been easier if you had been a man? I mean, in terms of how the media have gone for you because of the sex book. If it had been a man, it would have been a different thing.
I think so, yeah.
Is that just because society is sexist, is homophobic, is racist?
Yes, yes. It's a man's world. We live in a patriarchal society. That's just the way it is. And men make all the rules.
What did you want to get across then?
With what?
With the book, what did you want to get across? Because it's obviously been clouded, isn't it? It's been...
Just basically that it's all right to have sexual fantasies, that it's all right to play with them, to talk about them, that it's all right, that there's nothing wrong with you if you're attracted to darker things, that you know, and also to have a sense of humor about it, because most of the writing in the book is very tongue-in-cheek and meant to be taken that way. And actually to take the wind out of like the dark, naughty nature of sexuality, and to make fun of how society like pushes it in a closet and makes everyone feel a sense of shame about it. So, and the fact that everyone reacted that way with a sense of shame was precisely the point that I was trying to make, you know, about society and how we need to change.
Sanctuary is another song. Do you think sanctuary can be found in another person, or sanctuary is about finding it within yourself?
I think the starting point, I think that happiness has to come first within yourself. I think you can find happiness with someone, but ultimately you can't rely on someone to give you happiness. You have to give it to yourself.
That song is like, I want to be married, I want to be carried.
But I mean it in the metaphorical sense. It's here in your heart, I want to be carried. It's here in your soul, I want to be married. It's about connecting to someone, to finding your soulmate, not necessarily getting married.
But do you have a romantic ideal in terms of soulmate?
Listen to my record.
Yeah, I know. I can see there obviously is one there. What is it, though, for you? What is a romantic
Just everything that we've been talking about. I mean, just that. I mean, being passionate about what you do, standing for what you believe in, and having friends that feel the same way, taking risks, and being in love with someone who feels that way. I mean, that's, I suppose, a romantic point of view. I think artists generally want to fall in love with other artists or other creative people.
Why?
Because the soul of an artist is... Because if you're a true artist, then you take chances and you take risks, and no one else can really understand why you do it except another artist.
That sounds like a recipe for disaster. I would have thought the best person would be almost like a businessman somewhere.
You know, you could have the soul of an artist and be an investment banker. I'm not saying that you have to be, an expressionist painter or, a performance artist or something to understand, but you have to... I can't describe, and I can't describe to you what the soul of an artist is. It's just something that you know and feel it instinctually. You say, well, that person understands me.
Have you ever wanted to be gay?
No, I want to be who I am, and I have feelings, I've had feelings towards other women that were sexual. I've been sexually attracted to other women, and I suppose you would say that that's feeling gay. I don't know. And that feels fine. But I think ultimately I'm very attracted to men, so... And I don't sit here and go, oh, I wish that I was a lesbian, or I wish I was a gay man. I wish to be who I am. I think you have to define your own parameters if you do not live a conventional lifestyle, period, whether you're straight or gay or what. And I never think about labels, like, I never think, oh, I'm attracted to this, so that makes me this. That's a waste of time. That's what society needs to do all the time to feel safe.
Okay, how important is commercial success to you in all your ventures?
Well, I have to pay the rent, so it's important. And I've got lots of rents to pay, so... I mean, me personally as an artist, it's always most important for me not to compromise myself artistically, but I would be a liar if I said that I didn't care whether my record sold or my movies did well or my record company did well. That is important to me too. No, I have no regrets. In case you were going to ask me that.
Elle est là. Mesdames et messieurs, nous sommes heureux de vous offrir une demi-heure avec Madonna. Merci. Bonsoir, cher ami. Je suis. Faut pas crier, sinon on n'entendra pas la traduction. Je suis content de vous revoir. On ne s'est pas vu depuis 2 ou 3 ans. Vous êtes resté fidèle à notre équipe et ça me touche beaucoup. Vous avez vu la façon dont on vous reçoit en France. Lorsque je vous ai longuement rencontré il y a 3 ans à Los Angeles, vous m'avez dit « C'est vrai que la France représente pour moi quelque chose de particulier. » Et vous savez, très souvent quand je passe boulevard de Courcelles, je pense à vous.
C'est mignon.
C'est mignon. Vous êtes retourné boulevard de Courcelles où vous avez habité il y a quelques années?
Not on this trip.
Pas au cours de ce voyage-ci, non.
Ouais. Mais quand vous venez à Paris, on a l'impression que vous êtes chez vous.
Dans une certaine mesure, je séjourne toujours dans la même chambre à l'hôtel Ritz et je me sens à l'aise ici.
Qu'est-ce que vous trouvez de particulier en France ou en Europe que vous n'avez pas aux États-Unis? Parce que lorsqu'on s'est vu, vous m'avez dit, il se passe quelque chose chez vous. Est-ce que ça veut dire que vous auriez aimé, ça viendra peut-être un jour, habiter en Europe, habiter en France, avoir une maison ici, pourquoi pas?
Je crois que Paris est une ville très romantique, une très belle ville, avec une grande histoire, une grande culture, et cela n'existe pas aux États-Unis. Donc c'est un plaisir d'être ici et de voir tant de beauté, vraiment.
Puisque vous avez employé le mot romantisme, est-ce qu'on peut parler de romantisme en parlant de votre nouvelle chanson, de votre nouveau disque? J'ai écouté, moi, votre dernier album, Bedtime Stories, et on a l'impression que c'est une Madonna plus romantique. En tout cas, très différente de la précédente.
Pas si différente que cela. Je suis plus âgée et plus sage.
Ça se voit pas.
Mais j'ai toujours été une personne très romantique.
On regarde. On va regarder un extrait, Secret, le clip qui est extrait de Bedtime Story qui sort le 24 octobre. Et puis, on va parler de ces images après. On voit d'abord Secret, on écoute. Secret, extrait de Bedtime Story. Un petit peu de calme, sinon on ne pourra pas parler. Madonna. Oui. C'est facile à vivre, cette vie-là. Partout où vous vous déplacez, il y a des hordes de jeunes qui vous applaudissent, qui crient derrière vous. Il y a des gardes du corps partout. C'est pas contraignant parfois?
C'est difficile d'aller se promener à pied, ça c'est sûr.
Ouais.
Mais c'est pas toujours comme ça. Lorsque je ne fais rien, lorsque je ne fais pas de tournée, lorsque j'ai pas un disque dont je dois faire la promotion ou un film, c'est plus calme.
Oui, mais même quand vous faites votre métier, on se connaît depuis quelques années, vous changez de look tout le temps. Quand vous étiez petite fille, vous aimiez changer également, comme les poupées, vous changez. Quand on voit tous vos clips, quand on voit toutes les images de votre carrière, jamais vous êtes la même. La coupe de cheveux change, la couleur des cheveux, le maquillage, les vêtements. Ça vient d'où, ce besoin de changer de visage? C'est pour passer plus facilement inaperçu, peut-être, non?
Mais je suis une fille, c'est d'être une fille de changer. Les filles changent toujours leurs cheveux, leur coiffure, leur style. C'est simplement que tout le monde y fait attention.
Quand vous étiez une petite fille, à qui vous vouliez ressembler? À Carole Lombard?
Non. Je n'avais pas de modèle lorsque je grandissais. Lorsque je grandissais, je voulais simplement être quelqu'un d'important.
Ça, vous avez réussi.
Eh bien, merci.
Mais ça veut dire quoi? Ça veut dire quoi être quelqu'un d'important? Vous vouliez devenir un personnage public ou réussir votre vie, tout simplement?
Ce que j'entends par quelqu'un d'important, c'est que lorsque j'étais une jeune fille, je venais d'une très grande famille et on a tendance à devoir partager beaucoup de choses et on est obligé de crier beaucoup pour se faire remarquer, pour qu'on prête attention à vous. Et mon rêve lorsque j'étais enfant, c'était d'avoir ma chambre à moi. Ça, c'était mon principal rêve. Et je suis devenue une artiste et c'est beaucoup plus important pour moi d'être vraie vis-à-vis de moi-même en tant qu'artiste et de ne pas être fidèle à mes idées. Je mentirais si je ne disais pas qu'en tant qu'enfant, je m'intéressais à la gloire et à la fortune.
Moi, ce qui m'a beaucoup frappé quand on a bavardé ensemble à Los Angeles il y a 3 ans, c'est que vous m'avez dit que vous aviez 6 ans quand votre mère vous a quitté, a disparu, et que si votre mère avait vécu, vous auriez fait autre chose. Votre vie aurait été différente. C'est vrai?
Oui.
C'est-à-dire que tout ce que vous avez fait pour devenir Madonna, ça a été la conséquence de la disparition de votre mère?
Je crois que ça a eu une influence énorme sur moi. Et j'aurais choisi de vivre ma vie d'une façon différente. Comment, je ne peux pas vous le dire, parce que je n'ai pas eu cette expérience-là, mais la perte de ma mère a sans doute fait que je me suis sentie abandonnée. Et cela m'a donné une certaine solitude qui m'a sans doute poussée et qui m'a fait essayer plus dur encore.
Parmi les choses que vous aimez, il y a votre métier, il y a des amis, il y a Paris, et il y a l'art, il y a la peinture. Vous avez appris la peinture comment? Naturellement comme ça? Qui vous a donné envie et qui vous a appris à aimer la peinture? On vous a vu à la FIAC justement, le festival international d'art contemporain qui a lieu à Paris, et c'est une de vos grandes passions, la peinture. C'est né quand ça?
Vous m'avez vu à la FIAC?
Je sais que vous êtes allé à la FIAC.
Vous m'espionniez?
Non, mais je sais que vous y êtes allé, et je vais même vous montrer des choses que je crois que vous aimez beaucoup. Vous allez me dire si je me suis beaucoup trompé. Regardez. Est-ce que vous aimez ça? Regardez bien. Attendez.
La Tour Eiffel.
Et vous allez me dire à chaque fois ce qu'est ce tableau.
That's Peter Hauser.
Peter Hauser, ça vous aimez.
Peter Hauser.
And I love his paintings.
Et j'aime beaucoup ses tableaux.
I have 2 of his paintings.
J'en ai 2.
Et ces prêtres-là, ça c'est John Kirby.
John Kirby.
Je sais que vous aimez aussi. Je sais que vous aimez ça. Et ça, les sculptures de Patrice Ikili. C'est un sculpteur.
I don't like those.
Et
ceux-là, je ne les aime pas.
Attendez, vous allez me dire. Alan Jones, vous aimez Alan Jones? Bon. Et le canapé de Patrice Ikili, là. Bon. Et ça c'est Yamis Koumelis.
Je n'aime pas.
Bon, elle n'aime pas. Attendez. Et ça, c'est un sculpteur qui s'appelle Chassepeau. Voilà.
You missed Picabia.
Mais Picabia, vous ne l'avez pas montré?
Non.
Il y avait aussi Picabia.
Et ça, vous aimez Picabia. Mais vous aimez quand même Hausen et Kirby. Je ne me suis pas trop trompé quand même. Hein. Qu'est-ce que vous avez comme peinture chez vous?
Oui.
Qu'est-ce que vous avez comme peinture chez vous, dans votre maison?
Quel genre de tableau? J'ai toutes sortes de tableaux différents. J'ai des tableaux de Cyrillus, des tableaux cubistes,
abstract, expressionist
expressionniste allemand,
romantic, figurative painting,
romantique, figuratif du XVIIe siècle.
Vous avez appris la peinture dans les livres, en voyageant. Qui vous a donné envie d'aimer la peinture?
Probably many things.
Sans doute beaucoup de choses.
My older brother was a painter.
Mon grand frère était un peintre.
So I used to look at all of his art books all of the time.
Je regardais toujours ses livres d'art et aller à l'église aussi, voir les tableaux sur les murs et sur les plafonds. Et en tant qu'enfant, j'aimais beaucoup aller dans les musées.
J'ai des cadeaux pour vous, puisque vous aimez les livres d'art. Voilà. Ça, c'est un sculpteur des années 30 qui s'appelle François Pompon, qui était bourguignon. Je vous le donne. Ça, il y aura une exposition bientôt à Paris sur lui. Ça, c'est tous les ateliers de peintres.
Les ateliers de peintres?
Regardez, ça, c'est Gérard Garouste. Voilà, vous découvrirez. Ça, vous ne pouvez pas...
Qu'est-ce qu'il y a de si drôle?
Attendez. Ça, forcément.
Oui, Bottero, je connais.
Quand vous promenez dans Paris, aux Champs-Élysées, vous connaissez Bottero. Ça, c'est pour vous. Et ça, c'est un livre exceptionnel. Modigliani inconnu, 450 dessins inédits de la collection par Alexandre de Modigliani. C'est pour vous. Voilà.
Merci.
Alors Madonna, comme on a peu de temps, je voulais vous faire plaisir et vous montrer des choses que vous aimez. Je vais vous faire entendre quelque chose que vous aimez. Et vous m'avez dit un jour, il n'est pas du tout impossible que si on me propose un film qui retrace sa vie, j'accepte de jouer ce rôle. C'est le rôle de Piaf, Edith Piaf.
Oh, I said it wasn't impossible?
On va voir. On va voir.
J'ai dit que c'était pas impossible?
Si ça se présente. C'est une femme qui vous fascine.
L'idée me paraît très attrayante. Mais je crois que c'est difficile de faire un film sur une icône parce que les attentes des personnes qui l'aiment et la connaissent et l'ont connue ou pensent la connaître seraient tellement élevées que je pense que j'échouerais inévitablement. Je serais décevante.
En tout cas, votre venue à Paris correspond à l'anniversaire de sa mort. Il y a 31 ans hier, disparaissait Edith Piaf. Et j'ai choisi un extrait d'une chanson qui vous va bien puisque vous dites...
How old was she when she died?
Quel âge est-ce qu'elle avait
Elle
quand
était
elle est
très
morte?
très jeune, elle avait à peine 40 ans.
Really?
Ouais. Et ce qu'on va écouter maintenant, c'est une chanson qui vous va bien parce que vous dites souvent dans vos interviews « Je ne regrette rien ». C'est vrai?
Oui.
Je ne regrette rien.
That's true.
C'est vrai.
Alors on l'écoute.
Non, je ne regrette rien, ni le bien qu'on m'a fait, ni le mal, tout ça m'est bien égal. Non, rien de rien, non, je ne regrette rien, car ma vie, ça commence avec toi.
Bien. Elle avait 47 ans, elle était très malade et c'était une star immense. Je vous présente le plus jeune journaliste qui travaille avec moi, qui est un fan de vous. Il ne dort pas depuis 8 jours. Il ne dort pas depuis 8 jours.
Well, I haven't been sleeping either. if it makes
Moi non
you
plus, je
feel
n'ai pas
any
dormi
better.
depuis 8 jours, si ça peut vous faire plaisir.
Alors, Gaël,
bon,
quelle question tu as posée à Madonna?
J'ai des questions. Alors, je vais commencer. En 1989, vous avez fait un duo avec Sandra Bernard.
Parle doucement, doucement, pas trop vite.
Pardon, dans le concert Don't Bungle
I
the
did a
Jungle.
what? A duet.
Duet.
Un duo, oui.
Avec Sandra Bernard, donc lors du concert Don't Bungle the Jungle, en faveur de la protection de la nature. En 93, vous chantez The Lady is a Tramp avec Anthony Liedis des Red Hot Chili Peppers. Je me suis demandé s'il n'y avait pas un artiste français aujourd'hui avec qui vous aimeriez éventuellement travailler ou peut-être faire un duo sur scène.
A singing duet.
Yeah.
Un duo chantant?
C'est pas une question embarrassante du tout.
Okay.
Je sais que vous aimez bien les négresses vertes.
Oh, I love. What, but the lead singer, he died, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oui, mais le chanteur est
I could
mort, je
imagine
crois.
collaborating with them musically.
J'aurais pu envisager de collaborer avec eux sur le plan musical, mais chanter avec eux...
En duo, difficile.
Difficile quand même, effectivement, les musiques.
Allez,
ça,
autre question, Gaël.
On vous a vu tour à tour en mars.
How about Charles Aznavour?
Et Charles Aznavour,
voilà.
qu'en pensez-vous?
Il est sur scène
Je l'aime bien.
là, dans quelques jours au Palais des Congrès. Si vous revenez à Paris, il est sur scène au Palais des Congrès. C'est vrai que Charles Aznavour, c'est un bon choix. C'est un bon choix. Et il adore les
I
duos.
saw him performing in New
Je
York
l'ai vu
a
en
while
concert à
ago.
New York,
Ouais.
il n'y a pas très longtemps, à Radio City. Il était incroyable.
What was that? What's that one song he does?
Il y a une chanson qu'il chante, je ne sais plus...
Il en a, vous savez,
When a man loves
un
a
paquet.
woman, or when a...
Lorsqu'un homme aime une femme...
il a écrit que des chansons d'amour. Il a écrit que des chansons d'amour. Et il adore les duos.
Mais c'est une chanson incroyable. C'est une chanson qu'un homme ou une femme pourrait chanter, une chanson très ambiguë. J'ai oublié, enfin bref.
D'accord,
Ça me reviendra demain.
D'accord. C'était soit dans son joue contre joue, soit comme ils disent, mais ça c'est une chanson particulière. Il a écrit tellement de chansons à Aznavour, mais c'est celui qui, en France, a probablement le mieux écrit sur l'amour. Donc si vous voulez faire un duo avec lui, on
Was
lui...
he the boyfriend of Piaf?
Et il a été le petit ami de Piaf?
Oui, absolument. Il en parle dans les années 50. Il en parle souvent d'ailleurs, bien sûr. Il a débuté avec elle et c'est Piaf qui l'a aidé à le faire connaître, comme Montand, comme Yves Montand d'ailleurs. Autre question?
On vous a vu tour à tour en Marilyn, en Marlène. Vous vouez toute votre admiration à la légendaire danseuse et chorégraphe Martha Graham. Et vous avez même envisagé l'écriture d'une pièce de théâtre sur la femme peintre mexicaine Frida Kahlo. Alors je me demandais si ces personnes ne représentent pas une certaine image de la femme dont vous êtes aujourd'hui le symbole en quelque sorte.
I admire certain aspects of their personality.
J'admire certains
They're
aspects de
all
leur
very
personnalité.
talented women.
Ce sont des femmes
They were
qui
all
ont
artists.
de grands talents. C'était des artistes.
And they all had something
Et
in
elles
their
avaient
soul
toutes
that
quelque
they
chose dans
shared
leur
with the
âme
world.
qu'elles ont partagé avec le
So I've
monde.
been inspired by all of
Et
them.
elles m'ont toutes inspirée.
Quelle est la femme contemporaine aujourd'hui que vous admirez le plus? D'accord, on abandonne.
Pas facile. Vite, encore une question.
Oui, alors, c'est plus grave. Là, vous êtes préoccupé par très préoccupé pardon, par une maladie qui nous préoccupe tous, hélas, c'est le sida. Le sida qui a emporté le 27 octobre 90 votre ancien mentor et prof de danse Christopher Flynn et plus tard Keith Haring, peintre new-yorkais que vous admiriez beaucoup. Quel message vous auriez à nous passer ce soir à ce sujet?
Sur le sujet du sida, mon message, c'est que jusqu'à ce qu'on trouve un traitement, et j'espère que ce sera bientôt, j'espère et je prie pour que tout le monde comprenne la gravité de cette maladie et comprenne que ce n'est pas une maladie qui n'arrive qu'aux homosexuels et que je pense que tout le monde doit pratiquer le safe sex et faire attention.
Elle a raison. Merci Gaël. Merci Gaël. Je voudrais maintenant... On a choisi... Vous avez fait des clips qui sont tous aussi fabuleux les uns que les autres. On en a choisi 3 qu'on aime beaucoup dans notre équipe. Vous allez nous dire si c'est un bon choix. On les regarde. L'un est de 86, 89, 90, avec des réalisateurs différents, dont Mondino, évidemment. Vous allez nous dire si c'est un bon choix. On les écoute. Vous aimez? Je vous revoir. Vous aimez Mondino?
Ouais. Bien sûr. J'aurais choisi peut-être... Enfin, je suis d'accord avec tous vos choix. Mais j'aime beaucoup une autre vidéo que Mondino a faite, Justify My Love. Je l'aurais mise avec les autres.
Dites-moi, où trouvez-vous cette énergie? Où trouvez-vous cette énergie? C'est votre origine italienne?
C'est mon côté fin de vie. J'ai faim de la vie.
Ouais. Vous faites toujours un entraînement de sportif de haut niveau? Vous faites toujours...
Mais qu'est-ce que vous voulez dire? C'est mon côté italien. Les Français ne sont pas pleins d'énergie?
Si, je parlais des latins en général. Attendez. Bien sûr. Est-ce que vous faites toujours de l'entraînement physique comme une forcenée?
Oui, mais la gym, c'est pas ce qui me donne de l'énergie, c'est ce qui est à l'intérieur de moi qui me donne l'énergie pour faire la gym et faire tout ce que je fais d'autre.
Là, je voudrais avoir 15 secondes. Là. Moi, ça m'avait beaucoup frappé parce que je me promenais dans Paris ce jour-là et je vous ai croisé là. Je vous ai croisé, voilà ce que j'ai vu. Et j'ai mieux compris. J'ai mieux compris. Voilà. Bon, ça, vous faites ça tout le temps. Bon. Bon. Et
ça date.
Oui, ça date. Et vous continuez à faire ça?
Je ne cours pas avec autant de gens aux États-Unis, ça je vous assure.
Mais vous continuez à faire ça?
Oui, oui. J'aime bien courir dehors.
Vous avez fait dans votre jeune vie, vous avez déjà fait beaucoup de choses. J'ai l'impression que l'image que vous avez donnée depuis 2 ou 3 ans est en train de changer. Est-ce que ça veut dire que ce que vous avez fait, qui a un petit peu gêné peut-être les Américains, qui sont des gens très puritains, sont des choses que vous regrettez? Ou est-ce que vous avez l'impression d'avoir été mieux compris en Europe qu'aux États-Unis?
Vous avez posé plusieurs questions là. Tout d'abord, mon image a toujours changé depuis le début. Je suis toujours en changement. Et si je change, c'est pour me faire plaisir à moi et pas aux autres. Ce n'est pas une réaction aux réactions que les gens ont vis-à-vis de moi. J'espère toujours que mes chansons et mon travail sont un reflet de ce que je ressens à ce moment-là. Et je n'ai pas de regrets. Je ne regrette rien, pour prendre les mots d'Edith.
Très bien. Je vous remercie beaucoup. Bedtime Stories vient de sortir. J'étais ravi. J'étais ravi de vous rencontrer. Je vous souhaite beaucoup de succès pour tout ce que vous faites. C'était Madonna dans le studio Gabriel. À demain. Merci. Don't forget.
Un petit sourire.
Oh, right.
Ready?
Yes.
Steady? Go.
Steady, ready.
Yeah. Starting, could you tell me the journey from erotica to bedtime stories? Was it hard?
Oh, that's a simple way to describe it. Yes.
In which way?
Well, it was hard to be so profoundly misunderstood and not be destroyed and go back to work and continue writing and being expressive and not, and to try to express myself without listening to all the voices and thinking of all the things that people said, and that was hard.
And how did you survive all those years being misunderstood by the press and by the people, by the critics, some critics?
By knowing in my heart that it was what I wanted to do, and knowing, at least understanding what I meant personally, and also the people that I respect and admire, their opinions and their advice, and I would say that knowing that at least the handful of people that understood the irony or the message or whatever I was trying to say, I would say that helped me.
Yeah, and how did it start, the idea of the album, the Bedtime Stories?
The title?
Yeah, the title and the whole idea of looking into yourself, I think.
It wasn't premeditated, it just happened. I would say that 2 years of really trying to understand myself and humanity, I mean, I think I got a huge education. I mean, my whole life has been an education, but when people are happy and enthusiastic and cheering your name and saying you're the greatest, it doesn't give you pause to reflect as much as, it doesn't encourage you to sit and be reflective as much as people questioning and challenging what you do. I would say that my state of mind and what I wrote about was a reaction or a reflection or a response to that.
Yeah, would you define this album your most autobiographical one, or not?
No, not necessarily. I think there's something autobiographical in all of my records. I would say Like a Prayer was very autobiographical as well.
What was the thing that hurted you most during your career? The critics, they say, the reviews, the
Through my whole career?
Yeah.
Thing that hurt me the most? I can't think of any one thing. I think what hurts me the most is not specifically what someone says about me, but just the feeling that that human beings tend to be much more interested in the negative things in life and watching someone fall instead of building someone up.
You find this album more spiritual than the others? I found it.
Yes.
And
because I am.
From what comes this spirituality? From your
all the things that I'm telling you, my life, the path that the road that I've traveled, the people that I've met, the decisions I've had to make, the ways that I've had to educate myself and maintain my sanity.
Which was the most important person in your life? Be honest, true.
I'm trying. I mean, there's so many important people in my life. The
There's
most
one,
important person
yeah,
in my
the
life?
most. The one when you're all by yourself, you think of. have someone. Everybody has someone. You have someone.
Most important person. I guess my mother. Not so much because she was alive to have an influence on me, but I suppose that my imagination of her and my idealism of what of motherhood and my dream of what she could have been and also a longing for her has had a big influence on me.
And the family? Having been brought up in a big family, different people.
Well, my family's been a huge influence on me, my father, my brothers and sisters.
Going back to the album, very basic question. How do you choose the people you work with? What do they have to do?
Well, all of them had, what did they have to do? Well, I wanted to work with all of them because I respected the work that all of them did. I mean, I was a huge fan of Babyface's. I have been for years. I always wanted to write. I think he's one of the best songwriters today. And I'd heard a record that Dallas Austin did with Joy, a singer named Joy, which I thought was amazing. And Nellie Hooper, I think he's an amazing producer. I loved Bjork's album. I was very inspired by it. And also other groups that he's worked with, Massive Attack and Soul to Soul. And Dave Hall, actually, he was forced on me by my business manager, and I didn't want to work with him at all, but I met him and I liked him, and then we started writing together and it worked out good, so.
Leaving the album and going back to what you say last year.
We're just going like this right now.
What about the cinema? You say last year that you wanted to direct also. You mentioned that your desire to direct.
Yeah.
What happened to this idea?
It's still there inside of me, waiting for its chance to come out.
What would you like to direct? What's the movie you like most, the most moving movie?
I couldn't tell you. It would be original, and I'm sure it would be something that meant something to me. Maybe semi-autobiographical, something that I know. I think the best directors are best with subjects they know. So, I don't know. It hasn't come to me yet.
But which are the directors you like most? I remember you had a letter from Fellini once.
Yes, I framed it. It's hanging on my wall. Well, I adore Fellini, and he's incredible. He was incredible. And I'm not saying that because you're Italian, but I do love most Italian directors. I love Visconti and Bertolucci's early movies, and Pasolini and De Sica. He's Italian, right?
Yeah.
And René, Godard, Renoir. All the dead ones.
Yeah. All the Europeans ones.
Yeah.
Most of them are Europeans. Do you have any kind of regret looking back to your career?
The million-dollar question. No.
You did all what you wanted to do, the way you wanted, the minute you wanted.
Well, to say that I did everything I wanted to do is not the same as saying I have no regrets. I think having regrets is a waste of time, because even if you make mistakes, you learn from them. So there are things that I think, oh, maybe I should have gone back to school and I could have studied and I would have done this and that. There are things that I would like to have done, but who's to say I still can't do them, and it's not the same as a regret.
How do you see yourself in 10 years' time? Still in the music business?
I don't know. I don't see. I just live in the present.
Do you think that this album is the photograph of the real Madonna? The real Madonna that was missing in the past because it was a sort of a shape that you put in between you and the audiences. From what I hear from a few lines that I've heard from a few songs.
If you haven't heard the record?
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah.
Okay.
I loved it.
The whole
But
record?
Yeah. My opinion is not.
No, your opinion matters. I think that the more you do what you do, the better you get at it. So I would say that the more I write, the closer I come to my own voice. Like all writers, I think. I think in the beginning of every artist's career, you tend to copy people or be very inspired by people or take on the ideas of other people, and then slowly and surely you have more confidence and you start to find your own voice.
What helps you most in writing? Say, meeting people, reading, watching television, seeing life, hearing people telling you stories, looking into yourself, what?
All of the above. I mean, life, period. I would say that people inspire me. You know, whether it's a friend or someone I know intimately or someone I watch on the street.
What gives you most at this time of your career, the sense of your roots?
Sense of my roots.
Difficult one? No.
You mean where I came from?
Yeah.
Who
you are.
Well,
who
where
you
I
still
came from
are.
and who I am is kind of different,
Yeah.
but on the other hand, it's the same. I'd say my work gives me that, a sense of myself, who I am. It's the one thing that's my own.
Do you feel the pressure of being, for so many years now, a cultural icon, the symbol of success, the most successful woman in the music business in the world?
Yes, I feel the
Things
pressure.
like that, you know.
I feel the pressure. I feel the pressure at this very moment.
And how do you deal or fight this pressure for being yourself, for remain the girl?
The girl
10,
from
15 years
the
ago.
girl from Detroit.
Yeah.
How do I don't know. How do I maintain my sanity? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Well, it's difficult. I think that I'm surrounded by people that help me, my friends, people that I work with, people that I guess keep me in touch with reality. I surround myself with people that have a sense of humor, that are intelligent. I wouldn't say that my life is perfect or that I only have the most perfectly sincere, down-to-earth people around me all the time, but I think that I didn't really become famous till I was 24, 25 years old, so I had many years to be a normal person and learn how to survive without cameras on me all the time, so maybe that helped. I don't know.
And do you have any regret of that period before the big success,
What,
going out all by yourself and nobody looking for you?
What do you mean?
No, being on yourself in the street.
You mean when I first started?
Yeah. No.
No, I think I had a guardian angel. I think my life was I couldn't have asked for anything more than what happened to me.
In this period, in the music business, everybody's looking for collaboration, duets, this and that. Have you ever thought of doing something like that?
A duet?
Yeah, something like that. You know, it's a fashion. I'm asking this because it's a fashion. I know you don't do it.
It's a silly fashion.
But if you like, in fact, if you like to do it, you have any name. I know you won't do it. You shouldn't do it. You'll never do it.
All right. I definitely won't do it.
Yeah, okay, but a dream. Tomorrow you wake up. call me.
But if you held a gun to my head and I
Yeah.
had to do it.
Yeah, I had the gun.
Okay, little Jimmy Scott.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
And what about the cinema?
A duet in the cinema?
No, a director and an actor or an actress to work with.
To crack my knuckles for that one. A director I would like to work with Martin Scorsese. I would like to work with Quentin Tarantino. All the other good ones are dead. But I must be leaving someone out. I'm sure I can't think of anybody right now.
All Little Americans.
Oh, Pedro Almodovar.
Who?
Almodovar.
Ah, grande. The Spanish one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actors and actresses. Nobody, okay. Okay.
No, that's not true. There's definitely actors I want to work with. I'm thinking.
Cary Grant. No.
Cary Grant.
No, I'm
They're
joking.
all dead.
No, I'm joking, in fact.
I want to work with Helmut Berger. No, the actors that are alive that I really admire. I mean, there's a lot of them. Just can't. I think Gary Oldman is incredible. I'd love to work with him. Eric Roberts. Yeah.
Who told you the bedtime stories when you were a girl, very little girl?
My father.
And what sort of bedtime stories were? Scary?
No,
beautiful,
not scary.
Snow White? Italian fairy tales?
Well, he told me a lot of tales, but I only remember the stupidest ones, and I don't remember the specific plot. I just remember that it took place in a garden, and there was a rabbit, and the rabbit was very bad, and the rabbit was always trying to sneak into the garden and eat the vegetables. It was something about good and evil, but something about a carrot and a rabbit. It sounds really boring.
Your relationship with him is improved during the year?
With my father?
Yeah.
I would say, yeah. Mm-hmm.
How did you deal in the Vogue interview to destroy such a cultural icon like Norman Mailer? You destroyed him.
In Esquire?
Yeah, Esquire. You destroyed him.
I did?
Yeah, completely, because he looked like a poor intellectual, run down, completely run down. How did you manage to do this with such a cultural icon of the American culture? Probably you have a receipt to do something like that with such a...
I wasn't attempting to destroy him.
No,
I
know, but at the end of the article, the conversation was you 100%, him 1%.
Did I win by a knockout?
Yeah.
Well, I guess I just...
Weren't you afraid of meeting someone like him?
I think that he was... I think we had we talked about... I think we had a fairly intellectual conversation. I mean, he asked me intelligent questions, and that inspired me. It's hard to sound intelligent when people ask you stupid questions. So he raised the level of my game, so to speak.
Stupid question, which was the most stupid question they ever asked you?
What was the most stupid question?
Yeah, sorry. I think you
There's
had
just too many.
So just choose one.
Do I think I've gone too far?
Going back to bedtime, as I said before, it has a sense to me, I heard it twice only. there's a sense of great spirituality, very subtle. How it comes from? From your faith, from being raised as a Catholic girl and never having forgotten that ray.
Well, I would think that the spirituality that is
very subtle, but very deep.
Right. It's more based in the teachings of Hinduism and Buddhism than Catholicism. It's more Eastern, I think. I think it's a struggle. I mean, I was raised as a Catholic, and whether I like it or not, I will always have a rather Catholic view of the world.
A sense of sin.
A sense of sin, very patriarchal, and always in a struggle with that, you know, the father figure and the sense of sin and redemption and the struggle of good and evil and all of those things. And maybe the ideas that I embrace in my record, which are that happiness lies in your own hand, is the opposite of that, and the fight with that, and that God exists in all of us, and trying to come to terms with that and find my own sense of religion, because although I am Catholic in my bones, I am looking for something else in my blood. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that doesn't make sense, probably.
No, yeah. And thinking of that, how did you get in touch with the Eastern philosophies and religion? Say Buddhism, you said before, Buddhism and Zen.
Reading.
Yeah, I'm reading.
Reading.
Alan Watts.
Have you ever heard of a writer named Andrew Harvey?
No.
Oh, he's a Rhodes Scholar, and he's Indian, but he grew up in London, and he wrote a book called Hidden Journey, and it was his influence and his experience. He befriended an Indian woman. Her name is Mother Meera. She's called a divine avatar. Have you ever heard of that? Well, you'd have to read the book.
I'm sorry, I'm not into it. Sorry, forgive me.
Well, I wasn't into it either. Someone just
to.
gave me the book. But it's actually a very spiritually enlightening book, but very simple. So I was really influenced by that. Yeah.
How do you how Madonna writes a song? Because everybody sees you there in the limelight, but how do you work? How Madonna works? How the engine starts? You have the idea, you sit on a table.
It's always different. Sometimes I hear music, just a phrase of music, like notes, like a chord progression. And
Take About is one of the best songs you ever written.
Thank you. I agree.
My personal opinion.
Thank you. Well, for instance, that song, I heard the melody, da 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 da. That's what Babyface was playing when I walked in. Yeah. And generally, when I hear music and it clicks in my head, I have to be by myself in a room. I lay on my stomach on the floor and I write in a book, and I just play the music over and over and over again till I write the whole song out, and then go back to the music and make a structure or form with the music, and then go back and change the words again. Or sometimes I write in a journal, or I'll have a poem, and I'll take that poem and try to fit it to music. Sometimes I hear music in my head and I can't play an instrument, so I'll go to the person I'm writing music with and say, play this. And that's what they'll do. And
poetry has been important
Poetry.
for your poetry. Poets
yes.
are important in your what poems? Which poems?
Which poems?
Americans, French, Italian, English.
Chilean? Have you heard
Louis
of
Ferdinand Celine.
Pablo Neruda? Okay.
You must read the book, The Postman of Pablo Neruda. It's a movie by Michael Radford, Antonio Schermata, a Chilean writer.
Michael Radford, I know who he is.
Yeah.
He's English.
Yeah, he did it.
Okay.
It's a movie with Philippe Noiret. What's going on? Yeah.
Oh, okay, we have to stop.
Why?
Because we're out of time.
Okay.
Oh. Mi dispiace.
Mi dispiace, il postino, Antonio Scarmeta. No, you read me down.
Also, the first picture from Madonna's Notorious.